Hi, welcome to a new video. So this video is going to be on my project that I've been building for Sprint 3 for Triple Ten. It has to do with a application that is reactive to different screens. So one of the things or the key features of this particular project is that when you change screen sizes, so like let's say you go from a desktop to a laptop to a mobile phone, it changes without there being any extra horizontal scroll bars, without the images turning really funky or weird. So it's a basis of something of like actually being a developer, right? So let me go ahead and pull this up really quickly. So I'm gonna switch scenes. And so this is actually the code right here. As you can see right here, there's a couple of things that I've updated. I recently resubmitted it to my the project and fixed a couple of mistakes that I made. So I'm still learning, so mistakes are normal. Thankfully, it was only 16 mistakes, but they were minor, but still things I need to learn and remember. But to just kind of get started, so this is what the actual website looks like right here. And this is spots right here. Type in, and if you go to this address, for example, we're going to minimize, we're going to paste and go. This is going to be the application. And so it has a edit profile button, it has a new post, it has a like button, and it has an icon, it has the avatar title, the avatar descriptions, pictures, and I'm gonna check the inspect. So this right here, it allows me to see more or less how the website looks as I'm going through different what do you call that? Different screen sizes, right? So in a full screen, in like something like I'm using right now, what you see is this is the website. This is the footer, this is the main content with all the images, this is the buttons that I used, this is the header with the icon spots. And then this is all the code. There's a lot of little things I kind of had to mess with and see, but just to kind of start it off, like what is used in this particular project is HTML, right? So HTML is used to give it the structure of the actual web page, right? As you can see here, I have my header class right there with the logo. Right here we have the main class, the content. This is a section for the profile section. If you look into it deeper, you have the image. This can be changed, though later on as I go through other projects, I'll be adding in a different kind of what do you call that? Different kind of functionalities. Next sprint is going to be JavaScript. This sprint is focused on reactive screens. So next sprint I'm going to be working with a programming language called JavaScript, which is going to allow me to do more, right? But for what I've done right here, I've added in the image for the avatar, made sure that it's a certain kind of size. It's not too big, it's not too small, specifically to what the project was requesting, the designer had requested. I have my profile here with the profile title and the profile description and the edit button. As you can see here, this is the profile name, the description, and then right here we have the edit button. Now I'm going to minimize this, and we're going to look at this. This is the new profile, or the new post. Sorry, not new profile. The new post button, where it shows like, okay, well, I want a new post, and this is clickable only at the moment, but later on as I develop this more, it should be adding, be able to add in a post to these images here. Now, moving on from the header, we go into the card section. The card section is actually a list, and that allows me to have a good control of the grid. For this, I used a card class, which allowed me to set the settings for all 6 cards without having to go into detail with each specific card. Oh, like this card has to be size, or has to be 413 height by 445 width, or 413 width by 445 height. And then this one has to be the same, and then this one has to be the same. No, the way that it works is by using the card class, it allows me to make a modification to the card class, and then it applies to all 6 of them, because all 6 elements are considered a class, or are part of that class, so they're affected by it. We have different images here. As you can see, the size of the image is rendered to 413 by 413, which means 413 height, 413 width. This is Val Thorns for the alt text in case it can't be loaded in. And then it has card image, which allows me to manipulate the image itself. And then just kind of going deeper into it, like we have the card content, which has the card title, which would be what the title right there, Val Thorns. The actual like button to, like, if once this is developed further, you know, if you want to say, oh, I like this, you click on it, and then it adds a like. And yeah, these cards repeat themselves. The main difference is just the content. The inside of it is a little bit different because it has these different pictures inside of them, so it's not necessarily just going to be the same picture repeated over and over. Another thing that moving on from the cards, like as you can tell, they have good spacing. There's a media query right here which allows it to just change automatically to this, so that it's past excuse me, once it's smaller than a certain width, it's going to change into this profile, the way that it looks, so that it's able to be seen cleanly and efficiently in a mobile phone. So sorry. Moving on from there, I have this, which is the footer class. The footer class was really simple this time. It was just add spots. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to go deeper into the actual VS Code, but this is a basic HTML markup. In these styles, that's where things get really interesting, because that's actually where everything is very much so, where I have much more control over how the website looks, right? Now, these are the blocks right here that are arranged. These are the images right here, the cards, content, footer, header, page, and profile. These contain classes that are grouped by a certain by the BME methodology, so that, for example, for a card, if the card is being used over and over again, then you can have a single card.css file, which allows you to manipulate and see all of those classes without having to look through an entire a very long HTML or a very long CSS style sheet. Right here we have the index, where I imported all of the fonts, and the various CSS pages that I created throughout throughout writing the program or the code for this website. Right here, like I said, we have the index. We have all of our classes. We have HTML language English. We have the meta char set, viewport, device width, initial scale, description, content, keywords, the author, that's me, and then keywords like application, it's an application, HTML, CSS. Those are the technologies that I used. The style sheet, the reference, the page indexes, and then from that index CSS, like everything else is linked through the import URL. You have vendor for fonts. The main font for this particular project was actually the Poppins, and I have 2 versions of it right here. This is Poppins with the normal font weight, and then this is Poppins with a font weight 500. It's a true type. Let's see. That covers fonts. And then just kind of going through this, right? Going from top to bottom, we have the head that has the metadata and the links for the favicon. For the favicon, it's the icon that you see on a website when you have this. So I'm gonna paste and go to the website. This is the favicon. That's what it's affected with, or that's what that affects. We have the style sheet being linked, and then onto the main body, then we have a div class called page. The div class page, it's just to set a background cover for the entire page, make them in height, add in the font family to make sure that it's standardized across everything, because Poppins is the main font that I was using for the entirety of the website. It has this page section right here, max width. That's to control how big the screen gets, because there, let's say for example that I'm opening the website in a really big screen TV. That's gonna keep it so that. Espérame. Alright, sorry about that. As I was saying, that keeps it from getting too big or too small. It keeps it from getting too big, the max width, because the way that the blocks interact with each other, sometimes instead of staying like this, once you get past a certain width, they'll just keep on expanding and expanding, and it'll get to the point where it just looks strange and kind of ridiculous. So that's what that max width does. Moving on from that. We have the page class, and then the header class itself. The header does have a couple of things right there, but it doesn't have too much, like as width, height, justify content, display flex. That kind of keeps everything in position. Display flex turns into a flex box, and then justify content keeps the logo into that center. Because the header for this particular project was really simple. It was just this. It's the spots icon. So it doesn't really need too many styles to get it to look the way I wanted it to. It was really basic. After the header, we have our main class content right here. Right. So on the content, same thing. Gave it some padding to ensure that it's properly aligned to this based on the Figma. So right here, as you can kind of see, where is it? Page. There we go, page. And then we wanted to see, no, it's not page. I'm sorry. It is content. There we go, content. Content that computed. That padding, just to give it that 20 padding on both sides to make sure that as you go back and forth in between with this, it keeps it so that the images aren't just really stuck together overlaid like that. I didn't really do something for a min width, but for this, that's the purpose of it. And then kind of moving forward, let's look at this. So we got the content CSS the contents class, and then looking at the profile. So the profile was actually one of the harder parts for me, just because there was just so much into it. The profile display flex turns into a flex object. The padding gave it that padding around at the top and at the bottom, 34 pixels at the top, 20 pixels at the bottom, and then the border. That's to give this border right here that you see. And then the buttons themselves, they also have hover states. So if I hover over this, you can see that the cursor actually changes into a pointer finger, and same thing for this. And when you hover over it, the actual icon changes in from 100% opacity to, I believe, 40% or 70%. and same thing for the or vice versa for the edit profile button. It goes from 70% opacity to 100% opacity, just to highlight and give the user more responsiveness. And yeah, profile name, those are just margins, paddings, things that you basically do whenever you are dealing with text. This is an H1, and then under that is a P class. Let's see, cover the button, cover the edit profile button, the div, the profile new post, excuse me. Okay. Moving on to the card section, this is what I was mentioning earlier, the cards. As you can kind of see, you have the max width right here to, that's the max amount of space that the card itself can take up, which is 413 pixels. Excuse me. That stops the images from being too big, and it stops this from going over a set, from going past this edge right here. Card like button, this is the border, just to make sure it doesn't have a border, the height, the width, the opacity, the image. Right here, like, you have the images, it links to the images inside of this program, app. And then you just have some other things like card titles, the text overflow ellipses, that stops it from having too much text, so that it's not all running across different elements. It just, once it hits its max capacity, what it's going to do is just do ellipses, like 3 dots, to signify that there is more content. It's just that content didn't fit inside of the actual space allotted for the text. And card content, just suffice space between. This is just to have the card itself be centered properly, or the items in between here, because this is the card image, and then this is the card content, and then this is the card button, a like button. So the space between makes it so that these right here, that they're not they're pushed up against the edge of the container, and it gives it that look. And without it, it would just look very strange. It's easier to do a justify flex or display flex and justify content. And then these are the media screen and max width. These are I believe they're called media queries. And so this is the settings that change whenever it gets to this max width right here. So if it hits this max width, these settings are all applied, but these settings are applied on top of those. So for example, earlier the max width was 413 pixels, but once this setting applies, it changes from 413 pixels to 288 pixels. And same thing for the card image and the card title, card like button. That covers the cards. Let's look at that covered the card. Now let's look at the cards. And then the cards, that just helps position the actual cards themselves, the padding, the cards list. It removes, because it's a list, when it initially starts, it has these little bullet points that are not really necessary if you don't want them, and the actual Figma didn't request or needed, it didn't request them. So the list type none removes those bullets. Then display grid, it just makes it easier to kind of control how the cards are going to look. Like the grid template columns, repeat, auto fit, that gives it the amount of space that it needs. So like, let's say each column is going to be 413 pixels, so it has 3 columns, and then it repeats until it doesn't have any more space. It auto fits, and then it runs over to the next I want to say layer, but to the next line of space. And then same thing over here, you have the media query with the max width of 627 pixels, cards max width, padding, gap that changed up a little bit once in the Figma once it requested, because the gap is a little bit different in when it's at full screen versus the mobile version. That's kind of the way that I'm thinking of it right now. This is the mobile version, for the lack of a better word, because it's a little tedious to say 627 pixels each time. That covers the cards, and then let's see. We're done with the cards. That was the meat of it, honestly. And then the end of it is just the footer. Just adding in the footer. Very, very simple footer. I don't think I even... Okay, yeah. The footer, just text align, make sure it's really in the center. Margin 0 to remove any of those default margins that come along with text. The padding to give it that positioning between the cards and the footer to give it that specified space. Font weight, color, line height, yeah, just basic stuff right there. Let me see. Actually, I think in the cards, one of the things I did want to mention is that border bottom again. That's what allowed me to have that line right here that stays, that looks really nice, that was requested in the Figma. I personally really like that. And that line stays and grows based on, well, just how large the actual screen size is. So there's no real need to really change it. It's a border, but it looks neat in my opinion. And then this is the README. It's pretty basic. I'm learning how to do READMEs right now, but it's an image sharing site. Basic websites are responsive to various screen sizes and reacts accordingly. Tech stack, that's what was used, HTML, CSS, and responsive design. And then this is the deployment link, and I'm actually going to add in the link for this video. So I think that's about it. I might have over-explained some things, but yeah, I hope you like it. Thank you, take care, and have a wonderful day.